Hi there, it's Karen here. Welcome back to Corrie Papercrafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in central Scotland. Today's video is a couple of quick and easy last minute Valentine's projects if you're still looking for a bit of inspiration for something quick and easy to make. They're both made using products from the From My Heart suite, which is, you'll find that on page 9 of the new Spring Summer mini catalogue. I'm going to be using some of the papers and the heart foil tins and the stamp set and the punches. Absolutely gorgeous suite. The photos show it well, but they really don't do it justice. I'll quickly just grab the papers and let you see those, because they're just beautiful. I'm on to my second packet of these already. So some of them are foiled and some of them are just matte, but they're all double-sided. I'm just going to quickly flick through. These hearts actually coordinate with both the heart punches as well, so you can punch these hearts out, which is fabulous. Equally with these hearts as well, you can punch those out, but again, just gorgeous papers. I'll just quickly, some of them you've seen already, some of them are back to front. Absolutely lovely. I really like that one. As I say, all double-sided as well, and some stripes and whatnot. So that's the papers very quickly. So I'm going to start, I'll put the little heart tin to the side for now. I'm going to start with this little box. It's an open topped box with a bag of sweets inside. Now this was inspired by my sister crafter Sally from Sally Stampers, and she this week I think made a slightly bigger box with treats in it using the Birthday Bonanza suite, which you'll find on page 33 of the mini catalogue. Absolutely lovely suite as well. I've got some projects planned for that for a later date, but we are going to be using the cellophane bags, which are food safe, but my sweeties are wrapped in foil anyway. So I'll put a link to Sally's project underneath the video once it's posted. So to make the box, you're going to need a piece of cardstock which measures 9.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and 2 pieces of designer series paper, or DSP as we tend to call it, at 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 square, and then 2 smaller pieces for the sides of the box here, measuring 2 7/8 by 1 3/8. So that's what you're going to need to make your box. So let's do a bit of scoring. Excuse me, sorry. You're going to score your card first of all on the long side at 3 inches, 4.5, 7.5 and 9. And I'm just checking if I actually had that in shot, and yes I did. And then turn it clockwise and score it for the bottom of the box at 1.5, and that's all your scoring done. Scoreboard out of the way, pull my chair in a little bit, I've travelled away from my desk. So you're going to fold and burnish on all the score lines. And then we're going to do a bit of cutting. So you'll see along the bottom of the box here you've got 2 rectangles and 2 squares, and then this thin rectangle at the end, we're going to get rid of that completely, and we want to remove that score line as well. when cutting, just mitre it a little bit, and the same at the top, and it just gives you a neater close. And then we're going to cut up all these score lines here, but again removing the score line onto the square tabs and keeping the straight line on the longer panels, because these are the ones that are going to be showing on the outside of your box. And then just notching as usual on each of the flaps, and then you're left with that. And what you want to do then is pop some tape along here and on the two inside flaps and the flap that's going to be the front of your box. And I've not brought my tearing tape out of my craft bag, so bear with me for 2 seconds while I run and get it. I knew I would forget something. Oh, story of my life, I'm never organised. I always forget at least one thing. Apologies for that. So we're going to pop some tearing tape along near this fold but not on it. And as usual, I'll bring in my little ruler, and I want a slightly neater close on this box. So I'm going to, oh, let me think, is that the right way? Yes. I'm going to pop a bit of tape on each of these smaller flaps here, and then, oops, without tearing it if possible. And then, because I'm putting sweeties in it, I'm going to put a couple of pieces of tape on what will be the flap coming back round from the front of the box, just to give it a little bit of extra strength so the sweeties don't fall out the bottom. So just to make sure the tape's properly stuck down. Oh, I can't even speak today. I'm just going to give it a bit of a burnish. And then I'm going to take off my tape on the side flap and just push that over, bring it over and fold it over, and that's it joined together. And then just make sure I find what is the back of my box so that inside it's a slightly neater finish, and then put the side tabs in after that. Just squaring it up on my grid paper to make sure that I'm not warping it out of shape, and pop those over. I'm going to just give those a little press down underneath that with my paper folder, and then bring across the last flap, and that's my box done. And as usual, I've not put my panels on before I made the box up. I always do that, never mind. We'll just pop them on now. So a little bit of liquid glue on each of the front and back panels, and pop them on, but make life easier for yourself and stick these on before you stick your blooming box together. Every time, honestly, and just be very careful. Now, one thing I have discovered about this DSP, particularly the foiled pieces, is if you lay it down to put your glue on, then be very careful, because it can actually imprint on the front. So just be very, very gentle when you are putting the glue on, so that you don't mark your paper if you're giving it as a gift. If you're not too fussy, it doesn't really matter, but just be aware of that. Let me just straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Just using my paper folder to flatten that down. That looks okay. And then just the side panels have to go on. How's everybody's weather? Here in the UK, we've had Storm Kira, and I'm filming this on Friday the 14th of February, so it is actually Valentine's Day, and we're expecting Storm Daniel, I think it is, between Sunday and Monday, but he looks like he's popped in for a visit today because it's been quite windy and rainy here today, I have to say. So I think it'll be a weekend of crafting for me and not going anywhere if I don't absolutely have to. And then just pop this last panel on here. Make sure it's straight before I press it down. The good thing about using liquid glue is it does give you a few seconds just to make sure that's completely straight. I think that's as good as it's going to get. And that's your box made. So now to decorate it, and what I used to decorate it was where are my little bits and pieces? I used one of the doilies from the heart doilies that are part of that suite. Really pretty. They come in two colours, red and Flirty Flamingo. That's a Flirty Flamingo colour. Very pretty. And they're actually white on the back, so you don't have to have the red or the Flirty Flamingo. You can actually use the white side if you want. You could even use, I guess, your Stampin' Blends to colour that, or sponge it, or whatever you want to do. And then I'm just going to grab a piece of in fact, I've got a piece lying around, she said. Here we are, where I can punch out this red heart. Am I going to do red, or am I going to do a Flirty Flamingo heart? I think we'll do the Flirty Flamingo just to make it stand out a bit more. So, whoops, grab this piece of paper here, and I'm going to use the scalloped punch. And I need to turn this paper round. So I'm just lining it up to get an even border around the white dots. I'm going to cover these up anyway with my stamped image, but if it's not even, then it's not going to cover it up very evenly either. So I'm just going to punch that out, and that's my heart. Oops. And then I'm going to grab my stamp set, and I'm going to stamp the Happy Valentine's Day in real red ink. So I want my stamp, and I want to grab a block which needs a blooming clean, and my real red ink, and a piece of white cardstock. There we go. So just going to make sure I ink up my stamp well, and then make sure I press it down well to make sure all that colour transfers over. There we go, that's grand. I'm happy with that. Close my ink because I'm already covered in ink from earlier, and I'm going to just give that a little chance to dry whilst I bring in my tin just for 2 minutes and let you see the two hearts again, one of these but in red from that same sheet of paper. So I'm going to punch out that one, and another heart from another piece of the DSP. So while that's finishing drying, I'll just do my punching for my tin. I think that's maybe called multitasking, I'm not sure. Excuse me. So I should manage to fit the punch round that heart, but not quite, so I'm gonna cut that bit off and try and catch this one, see if I can get that. Nope, still need to cut a bit more. I've already cut into this other heart anyway, so bit wasteful, but it's only one heart, plenty more on the sheet. And I'm just going to line this up with the smooth heart punch. And just grip it to check if I'm happy. That's probably about right there. Punch that out. So that's that one. And I'll bring it my scalloped punch and punch out my red love heart from here. Again, just making sure I've got an even border round. That'll do me. And so I'll put them to the side and bring back my straight edged punch to punch out my stamped Happy Valentine's Day. And again, when you punch this out, it's got a slight white border around it. Just trying to see. The light's not great because it's a bit of a grey day, so sorry, I'm having to tip this towards myself to check if that's even, and I think that's it's okay. I've punched better, but that's alright. And then it's just a case of putting it all together. So the Happy Valentine's Day I want to just pop on to my Flirty Flamingo card with a bit of liquid glue. Oops. Excuse me. I'm really trying not to cough in everybody's ear. Pick that up and pop it on, and you've got plenty time to move that around and make sure that it's centered. I just gauge this little groove here with the top of my heart, and the same with the point at the bottom, and just make sure that I've covered all those white dots, and I had until I moved it there. There we go, that's fine. And then I'm going to glue that straight onto this love heart here, and again I'm watching this little shape here with the top of my heart and lining the bottom of my heart up with this bottom point on the doily. So again, I'm going to pop a little bit of glue just in the middle of this heart because I don't want it to squish through that love heart, the holes in that love heart, and just pop that down on there. That looks fine. Just give it a few seconds to dry. And then I'm going to grab these gorgeous champagne rhinestones, which I've absolutely fallen in love with, and just take one of the bigger ones. Here it is here. Was it a big one or was it a medium-sized one? I think it's a medium-sized one. What is it? Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to pop a big one on because that's the one I've taken off. Just pop one up at the top of there. Pop the lid back on my glue, and then I'm going to grab some dimensionals and pop 3 on the back of the doily, and oops, just centre it on the box. Now I'm not right over the top of this box because of my tripod and the camera, so I'm hoping that will be on straight. Straight enough, I think. Just give it a squeeze. And then I'm going to grab my bag and I've got sweeties here in another box that I made, just with a slightly different colourway. I've got my sweeties already, so I'll just pop those in the bag and line up the gusset again. And I think I'm going to try, might give this one to my hubby, so I'm going to, and actually I'm going to pop my sweeties in the box so that it holds them still before I tie my ribbon, and I'm just going to see what it looks like with some black sparkly ribbon on it, just for a bit of a change. Now I'm useless at tying bows, so here goes. I'm hoping it will be successful. My goodness, it was. I'm losing my box off the bottom of the screen though, so I'll just tighten that up a little bit, pull that through a little bit, and I'm going to leave it at that, I think. I could probably have done with pulling that up a little bit, and then I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors and cut a couple of tails there, and there we are. So that's the treat box, and like I said a minute ago, that's a slightly different colourway for the treat box. So if I put those to the side for a little minute, we'll come back to our treat tin. And these are in a box of 10 from the From My Heart suite. They are food safe. They can also be used for baking, which is fabulous. I have a daughter who likes to bake, so I'm going to give her some of these so that she can make some heart-shaped cakes. And one of my lovely ladies, Laura, who comes to my workshops, bakes cupcakes, and I'm going to probably give her some of these as well. So inside this tin, it is for hubby, and he is a big fan of anything Reese's. So I managed to fit 3 Reese's hearts inside this tin. So I'll just pop those in just now and then pop the lid on. And what I like about these tins is that the lid isn't flush to the top of the tin, so you've got plenty room to put in as many sweeties as you can fit in, really. So with this one, I grabbed a bit of the real red stitch satin ribbon, which is just beautiful and it feels lovely. And I just measured really across the top of the lid, and I popped a bit of snail on the back of this heart here. Oops. And I just basically laid the ribbon straight across the back of the heart so that it came out at the sides, and it was quite a faff flagging the ends, so I'm just going to cheat this time round, and oops, didn't quite work. Just cut them at an angle. And then what I did then was I popped dimensionals on the back, dimensionals even, on the back of this little heart. So one here, and one here. And then, is that what I did? I can't even remember now. Do you know what? No, I didn't. I forgot to put my shiny heart on the back, but do you know what? We'll just improvise. And I'm not going to edit that bit out, so you can see me making a mess of it and get a laugh. So I'll just raise that up on dimensionals, and then I'll raise it up again on dimensionals. It's not going to do any harm getting it wrong. That's what happens. Nobody's perfect, and it's going to have the same effect after all. It would help if I got out another doily though. Oops. Here we go. So I'll grab my doily and again just centre this on top of the doily. There we are. Actually, I think I like that better than having glued it flat. It just gives it a little bit more dimension. So there you go, that was a happy mistake, and that's often how you find what works in crafting by making mistakes. And now I'm looking for my mini glue dots, which I had 5 minutes ago, and I know they're on my desk, but if you saw how messy my desk is off camera, you'll probably understand why I can't find it. A glue dot there, excuse me, a glue dot there, and oops, a glue dot at the bottom. And then all I did was I let the doily fall into the top of the tin, and there you go, that's it. Another rhinestone just in the middle, and I think I did use a large one for the middle of that heart. There we are, and that's my tin made. So if you're still looking for anything last minute to make for Valentine's Day, there's a quick tin if you have them, and a quick box, and just pop some sweeties in. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye now.